Hi guys, so I've been saying for some time that Brexiteers in Great Britain do not care and do not understand Northern Ireland. They're willing to play with fire because they know others will get burnt. This is very dangerous when it comes to Northern Ireland, and we've seen recently how it has resulted in burnt buses and other threats to the public. Neale Richmond is somebody I interviewed recently about Brexit and Northern Ireland politics. Here he was interviewed on an Irish political show where he explained why Boris Johnson's government is playing political football with the Northern Ireland Protocol all of a sudden. Have a listen.
Crisis over the protocol again, and the comments from Liz Truss today that internal peace and security within the UK, she said, is at risk if this protocol isn't looked at. Do you agree with those comments from her?
No, this whole process is a stunt, mainly driven by Liz Truss to deal with internal Tory politics.
This is a total red herring.
I don't think it's a red herring, but I think it's very high-level political game playing, something which is so sensitive. At the end of the day, no one was talking about the protocol in Westminster for the last number of weeks and months. They were focused on loads of different domestic things, plenty of domestic scandals. And what we see is once again a reversion from the usual suspects that, if in doubt, let's pick a row with Brussels. There was good, concrete discussions going on since Liz Truss took over as lead negotiator from Lord Frost. Since January onwards, we've seen the EU had legislated to ensure that Northern Ireland could continue to have access to medicines. We saw the EU produce a paper in October which would have reduced checks by 80%. And bear in mind the checks are pretty limited as is. But now we see the grassroots of the Conservative Party getting edgy, Liz Truss trying to see her moment. It's absolutely brazen, it's blatant, and it just goes to show the absolute contempt that so many people in this Tory party take their closest partners for at a really delicate time in global politics.
We've seen how when the UK government works with the EU, the problems, which remember these are caused by Brexit, and the protocol is not perfect, but the protocol protects Northern Ireland from the worst of Brexit. When the two work together, they're able to overcome these problems. So when it came to medicines, for example, medicines was an issue, whether Northern Ireland would be able to access the medicines it needs. That was resolved. Businesses in Northern Ireland, and I talked about this last year, businesses in Northern Ireland were asking the EU if it was possible to make not changes to the protocol, but to streamline it, to allow for some checks to be suspended, in a sense. And the EU responded with more than they expected. So when there's actual dialogue, when there's an actual respect taking place between both sides, then these issues can be resolved. What you have at the moment is you have the DUP who are refusing to form a government with Sinn Féin. They have put the issue of the protocol front and centre now and said we're not going to go into government unless the protocol is fixed. They haven't provided any solutions. They can't actually describe what fixed means, but they're looking over their shoulder to the UK government and asking them for help. And the UK government finding the protocol as a distraction to internal problems, the cost of living crisis, corruption, all of these issues that are facing the Tory government at the moment. The protocol is a wonderful solution. Yeah, let's blame Brussels, distract the public once again. What the UK government should be doing is putting pressure on the DUP to form a government with Sinn Féin. Say, if you don't want to do this, okay, then we're going to play hardball with you. We have a responsibility as the UK government to make sure that the Northern Ireland Assembly is operating. For example, the Northern Ireland Secretary of State, Brandon Lewis, can stop wages to members of the Northern Ireland Assembly. That would be a bit of a motivator to the DUP to get into government. If the members of their assembly and the members of the assembly and the DUP are not getting paid, then some of them would probably put pressure on the leadership to say, yeah, actually, let's go ahead and go into government. Because money is important, especially during a cost of living crisis. And I've said before, to deal with the cost of living crisis, you need, or it's better to have an operating assembly. You don't want it run from Westminster. So this is once again a distractor for the public. Oh, look, we can pick the protocol, we can blame the protocol, blame Brussels, and it distracts from the disaster that's unfolding in Westminster. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.